Us. Hello. Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming. CK. Us. Torbjörn. Hello. How are you? Harry from down the hill. Torbjörn all the way from Norway. Fred from Sweden. Us. Good to see you. Mike. It's still wet again in Perth. I tell you, you got to move to Queensland. So it was only 2 degrees here last night. Us. Rochelle. Hi. How are you? Rob from Tassie. It was 2 degrees here, so I imagine it's pretty chilly in Tassie at the moment. But anyway, thanks for coming on board. I've got a bit of I must be going to burning the candle at both ends. I've got a little bit of a fever sore building up. Oh, Daniel, good to see you, man. And Gaza from down the hill. How's all the training going down there? I'm going to get along soon. I just got to find a day where I'm not training up here in the mountain. Unfortunately, right now I'm doing 6 days a week, Gaz, so I'm not able to get down there. Herman, Us, good to see you, man. Just, the question of the day, of course, is everyone using a logbook? And if not, why not? And if you do, how do you find it in terms of the effect it has on your training? Or if you've used one in the past but not, and what sort of features in the logbook have you found to be useful or useless? Because the reason I designed my own logbook is because I just found that a lot of them ended up being empty paper. You know, you buy a logbook and it has a whole range of interesting things going on, and often it's one page per day. But if you don't really train hard that day, or if you only do a specific thing on that day, well, then often it's wasted paper. So I designed my own, and I'm happy to say it's finally arrived. Here they are, my beautiful new logbooks. There you have it. I'm trying to actually. Let me just. It's got this clear perspex cover to protect it, so I'll peel that back so you can see. But there you have it, the Blueprint Training Logbook. Shingi Tai, of course. Us Paddy. Can't wait to get the logbook. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, well, look, man, oh man, they're the 3 magic questions. What did I do well? What didn't I do well? And what am I going to do about it? So good. And there you have it. And I think I'll run through them today because I really genuinely, look, I've been using logbooks, everything from just a normal old pad to an expensive leather-bound closed planner. And I think what I've tried to do is distill the very best of what I've found and put it in this logbook. And I've tried to make it as useful and as well priced as possible. And I've got one of my favorite quotes here. You see, I have to read it. I'll hold it up to you as I read it off another one because it's backwards when I hold it up to the screen, even though you'll see it. Did you see that hand, that illustration? My good buddy Willie Schultz, who did the print-ready final production after I designed it, and it's got that hand with a key in it. And you see that quote from Rumi, which says, "One of the marvels of the world, the sight of a soul sitting in prison with the key in its hand." And it's always been one of my favorite quotes. Well, not always. I didn't know anything about it when I was 4, but you get my drift. Us Marco. And what that means is we have everything we need within. We just need to do something about it. And so by using these logbooks, it helps us stay on track. I'm really, really happy with the production of it. And there's some great stuff that I want to run through. First of all, shout out to my Patreon family. I really appreciate it. Harry, in fact, for Harry, I'm going to put the link right here because you requested that link. Where are we? See if I can find the link for you, Harry. But anyway, look, really appreciate it. It's actually, it's not only is it really helping, but it's actually, and not only is it giving me faith in human nature, but it's also allowing me to do some fantastic things. So there's that link for you. That'll take you to where you log in. Paul, good to see you in Deutschland. Hope it's good there. KP, good to see you, man. Fantastic. Good to see you come along. So anyway, look, I've got this logbook and I'm really excited by it. and I'd like to talk about it today. So of course we know Solsai kept a logbook. That's how we know we have accurate record of some of his mountain training and things like that, and the volumes that he used to do. And when I was Uchideshi at Hombu, everyone was encouraged to keep a diary. Now, it wasn't necessarily a logbook per se, but what it was a record of your day, which sometimes, to be quite honest, guys would scramble to get it finished. So it was submitted by Solsai at 8 a.m. that morning. But once you got in the habit, what it did was it kept a really great record of your training. And I still have my logbooks going all the way back to 1984 and so on. Well, Ketz, good to see you, man. Hope everything's safe there in China, and Clarence from South Africa. So we've got South Africa, Scandinavia, mainland Europe, North America, Australia, and there's Mr. Steve, PE with Mr. Steve, Ketz, my buddy, who's in China. So well done, everyone. Good to see you all. Look, the logbook, essentially a logbook, you just get a scrap of paper and keep a record of what you did. That's one use of a logbook, okay? But also by using a proper logbook, you keep a clear record of what you did so that when you're looking to do incremental improvement and increases, then you have a clear record. Leo, good to see you. Leo's from South America. I think we've pretty well got the entire globe covered. We've got China, we've got CK there. I think CK's in Hong Kong. Leo's in South America. Rochelle's in North America. We've got Clarence in South Africa. We've got Torbjörn and Paul in Deutschland. And we also have Frederick in Sweden, Torbjörn so we've pretty well got the globe covered. So that's all 20 million of us. I'm sorry, 20 of us. I don't mind. I'd rather have a small group of serious, dedicated people than 5,000 people who are in and out while they're playing a game here and on the phone there. So it's great to see. Leo, great stuff ahead for us too. Leo and I got some secret projects going on, which we're very excited about. Okay, so keeping a record of your training is really valuable. You can look back at that over the years. You can review the details, and that's in long term too. I mean, I look at my Hombu diaries from way back when I was Uchideshi. Well, that's like, what's that, 35 years ago, and I still have a great record of it. But also one really, really valuable, there's a couple of really valuable uses for it. It keeps you motivated, when you can see, and I'll run through some of the sections, when you can see what you've been up to, it really allows you to keep on track. Another thing too is I have this section. I'll end up going backwards to forwards the way I'm going. But I've designed this section called the skill drill logs. And that's a sample of it, okay? And what you can see is, if you can read that, what you do is it gives you I'm going to open a second one so I don't keep having to flip it over so you can see it. But it gives you the date and the start position, okay? So that may be default fighting position or, sparring position, or it may be, for example, a position in a kata, perhaps, okay? And then the technique or the flow. So let's say the start position is fighting stance and the flow is defend against a Jodan Mawashi, counter with thigh kick and your own Jodan Mawashi, whatever it is, you write the name of that technique there. Then in the steps section, you see this section here, steps. What you do is you break down in detail the technique that you're learning. And this is really good if you say you learn a technique at a seminar or something like that, you see. I'm going to pull it back so I've got the whole thing in there. You break down the technique and in steps, one step at a time. And then under that, you've got the 80-20, the key 80-20 points. So, for example, if you are doing, say, a defend against a roundhouse kick followed by your own thigh kick, roundhouse kick, okay, then you could say, get your insurance policy, your coxcomb, your backup technique there as well. Take the leg away. Make sure you turn the bottom foot. Use your stomp turn. get the weight right, move off the angle, little things like that. Snap the Jodamawashi, don't push it through, and you can keep any note you want. And then what you do under that, you see those squares with the crosses in. Well, each of those squares represents 10 repetitions. So what that does is sometimes, in fact, all the time, I know it's true because I've done it 1,000 million, trillion, godzillion times. You don't really keep clear track of the number of repetitions you do. You might be doing something, you do a few, and you think you've done 20 when actually you've done 5. Okay, so by knowing that you need to keep a clear record of the number, then you do count 10. You get a partner that you train with, you go, okay, do 10, bang, bang, and you count them off, and then he does 10. Okay, and then you count them off like that, and then each time you do 10, you cross a square off, and once you fill that whole box up, you've done 1,000 repetitions. Okay, now you know that having done 1,000 repetitions is vastly different to thinking you've done 1,000, but actually you've only done 40. Okay, so that's really, really valuable because it can keep you on track. And sometimes you can be in a situation where maybe you're not 100% certain of what training you're going to do today. Well, then you pull out that logbook, and there you have it. You've only done 80 repetitions of one particular technique that you want to work on. So you get right into it, and you do another 40 or 50 or whatever, and you keep a track of them step by step as you go. That's a really, really key feature of the logbook. Okay, here's another page. This is the table of contents. Okay, don't worry about this. That's just hibitanren, which means the daily training. Okay, so you can see the contents there. Why a logbook, 7-stage kumite mastery, which I've outlined, the 8-step formula, which is particularly important for grappling, concepts to train by, your training plan, map your reality, yearly planner, quarterly planner, long-term, short-term goals, working the gap with the K350 or the T250. So K350, kumite, 350 rounds, with a set, clear, step-by-step plan, or T250, 250 taps with a 5-stage clear set training plan. Daily log training samples. I'll go over all these in a sec, and then you go into the body of the logbook, and then a summary of it. And you see at the front, on the front cover here, I'll go back to a different one again. On the front cover, you see I've got a space there for your name and then the dates, because obviously you want to keep using this. This may last 3 months if you're really solid, or it may last 3 years. It doesn't matter, as long as, and then when you keep them and you keep them over time, you have a clear record. I wish I could have taken a photo, but the clarity and organization of Soul Size logbooks and photo albums was like a library. You'd think that he had paid a librarian to organize his system with such perfection and clarity. So at any time, if he needed to zero in on a particular time, particular place, he'd just go boom, boom, there it is there, pull it out, open it up. And the only reason I know that was because he gave me access to his entire archives when I was writing the book back in '87, and he said I could take all the photos I wanted. So I took plenty, I tell you now. Wuss. And Harry's from Michigan. You're from Michigan Avenue. Is that what you're saying? Do you live on Michigan Avenue, Harry? Okay, so let me just run through, first of all, page by page. Look, I'm really excited about this, and it's come out beautifully. It's on a type of paper which is matte but strong. So, cheap paper absorbs the sweat, and if you're keeping a record of this when you're a bit sweaty, you don't want that. So you need a paper that's slightly coated. So I've coated it. It's a matte finish coat, really nice to write on. Okay, so here's the first page. It explains why, and then it goes through the 7-stage kumite mastery for the stand-up training and the 8-step formula for the grappling. Okay, and I think they alone can, if you can keep referring back to them, they're solid gold. You know them, the steps. I won't go through them now, but you know them. And then on next to that, I have created an illustration of that concept that I developed called a block is a lock, is a blow is a throw. And that's just a visual representation of what that means. Okay, then on the next page, I've got different concepts, 18 different concepts that you can train by. And if you just follow those 18 steps alone, I promise you'll get measurable differences in the outcome of your training from day to day. And really, that's what we're doing, right? All training. You don't want to train in a way that the guy next to you is doing just as many hours and shooting ahead at 4 times the value and 4 times the speed. Okay, that literally means your training is not being optimized properly. And here you have it. This will help do that. Okay, so these 18 steps, concepts. Also, Alan Lloyd, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. I am smiling. I just got the page in front of my face. Okay, so you keep a logbook. You train with full attention. Train with clear goals. Safety first. Your training partner's progress is important as yours. Shingi Tai. Technique before conditioning. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Leverage over force. We call that Archimedes over Newton in the dojo. Archimedes, of course, being the lever man and Newton being the mechanical strength. So we always call it Archimedes over Newton. Leverage over strength. Create space. That's for the ground. Grips before transition, ground. Transition to improve position. Okay, so if you're in someone's dead zone, you want to transition into a different angle, different distance. That's what that means. Be aware of your base. I've mentioned this before. Solsai said the one who loses his balance is the one who loses his fight, and it never made sense to me because I was always, if I fell over, the referee would stop the fight, let me stand up again. But then he wasn't talking about that. He was talking about real fights. And if you lose balance, you lose a fight. It's that simple. And when we do training in the dojo where we include all the 5 ranges and you're sparring away, if they trip you or if something happens, you fall down, it's hellish to try and get back up again and reclaim ownership of the control. Breathe, enjoy, K350, K250, and that's pretty well the 18 steps. So I think that's a really fantastic fundamental to start with. Okay, going over the page again. This next page here, your training plan, points to consider, primary positions, and map your reality. Okay, and that's where it gets really interesting. All right, this here, what I've done is I've created a map. Us, good to see you, Rud, all the way. How's the rain there? You're at Hiroshima. I guess it's down in Kyushu, but I believe it's been pretty bad, eh? So stay safe. Kyushu, they've had some pretty serious rain. They're expecting another 400 mils in the next 24 hours. Yeah, be careful, eh? Everything's made so soft and light there. So something like heavy rain can have a much more amplified effect than somewhere here. Okay, so mapping your reality. And this is really important because if you want to go on a journey, first of all, you have to have a map. And the first thing the map says is where do you want to start? You can't say, I'm going to Sydney. All right, well, that doesn't mean anything until you tell me where you start. Are you going from Sydney to Sydney from Wollongong? Are you going from Perth? Are you going from Brisbane or in Canada? Are you going to Dawson Creek from Vancouver or from Montreal? Everything depends on your starting point. So what this does, it allows you to map your reality and find your starting point. Shingi Tai, and also training down the bottom. And what it does, it's got strengths, neutral, pluses, neutrals, and minuses. In other words, strengths, neutral, and things that need work on. And you just be honest with yourself. This is for you. It's not for anyone else. So there's no need to hold back and be shy or anything like that. Literally, it's for you. All right. So the next page, when you turn over, is a yearly planner. What we do is we break the year. Remember, each quarter of each 3 months has 13 weeks. We work on the idea of training solidly for 12 weeks and then having a week off to consolidate, get organized, plan everything. Excuse me. So here's a yearly planner. Just go through weeks and each quarter. And all you need to do is set one or two techniques. And I tell you, whenever, like before the COVID, I was working on one single stand-up technique, one single kata, and one single grappling technique. And well, the COVID shut things down, of course, but when you zero in on a fewer number of techniques over a longer period, you get really good at that. All right, and this is really, really important that you do that. Okay, and then you've got a section here where you can start to map out things. So you start to go in a little more detail. So your first quarter, you've got a mindset area, the technique, and conditioning. So there, Shingi Tai, mindset, technique, and your body, your conditioning. So it may be that you're not particularly flexible. All right, well then you go, okay, well this for this first quarter, I'm going to really focus on flexibility. And I've got somatic there. Somatic, as you know, means a physical property. See down the bottom. So you've really only got 5 physical properties. My good buddy Mitch Kachonda will tell you there's only 4, and he's right. Strength, speed, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility. In karate, I add a 5th, and I call that sturdiness. I like to use the S. Strength, speed, stamina, suppleness, and sturdiness. Sturdiness is the body's ability to take impact and punishment. Well, you can choose one of those. You can choose one of those somatics. You can work on techniques. You can choose principles or techniques. So the principle may, let's say, for example, you're working on perpetual motion. Okay, so you never get set. You never have both heels on the ground. You always have one heel off, whether it's a back heel or front heel, just depends on your movement. You never get set. You're constantly moving in, out. You're keeping the head moving. You're moving off the angle. You move in and out. You fake. You're constantly trying to be deceptive. Okay, you've got to be sneaky. All right. And then mental, the mindset area may very well be, you're being a bit lazy, or when you're confronted by strong opponents in the dojo, you get a little bit intimidated. Or it may be something like you get angry. It may be an emotional quality that you're not happy with. It may be a mental quality you're not happy with, Whoosh, Jace, good to see you, man. So it's really, really important that you just simply choose one or two of those and you work it into your plan. And then after that, what we have is long-term. I call this working the gap. What's the gap? Well, I know where I am now. I know where I want to be. All I have to do is work that gap from where I am to where I want to go. So this section, this is the long-term, short-term goals. So you can see I've broken it down into 5, 3, 2, 1 year. Sorry, I didn't hold that up long enough. You see I've got 2 year, 1 year, and then break it down even further. 6-month goals, 3-month goals, and then the last 3-month, 1-month goals. Okay, so you can be as clear and detailed as you wish. Over the page you see here, I've just got it written there, back up for when you make adjustments to your short-term goals. So I've just got another 6, 3, and yearly, monthly plan. So that will change. Hopefully your goals will constantly change, which means you're getting progress. Okay, then I go into what we call the daily personal training logs, and what I've done is given samples of how to go about that. I'm just going to open up this page too. So there's a sample. Now I went right away from the concept of 1 page per day that you see in a lot of logbooks, because it just became a waste of paper, because some days you hardly do anything. Well, you see here the way I've done it is, and just explained it out, is you can use shorthand, keep notes, keep little shorthand. Personal best, you could just put PB, squats, SQ, reps. It doesn't matter which language you use as long as you understand it. And then you can put a date, you can give detail, and then when you're ready, at the end of that day, just put a line, and then you put another date, another detail. So you see the volume of detail here, and on the next day here are very different. You don't want to waste a page. There'd be 3 pages there that you've used already, when in actual fact you can save a lot of paper by doing that on 1 page. Okay, then the next sample is the group sessions. So this is when you're actually training in the dojo under instruction from someone, or for an instructor, keeping a record of what you did in the dojo. It's very valuable too. So here I've done things like I've got 2 per page, not 1. And if you need more room, you just write sideways down here or up here, or, you know, add a stick-it note and put it in later on. So here you see that I've got, for example, intensity, effort. Okay, so how hard was training today and how hard did I try? And then I've got the shin-gi tai. So you circle one of them. Which, obviously, training addresses all 3, but on some days, you know, it addresses one in particular. So like a Friday night circuit where you just smash the body is obviously tai, whereas other nights you may focus simply on mastering a particular flow and a particular kata. So that's gi. Okay, so, and I've got their tapped or underneath kumite rounds. So you see the tapped is for the T250. You keep a record of how many taps. So on this particular one, the sample there, I've tapped 7 times for a total of 32 out of my current 50. All right. And it may be with kumite, it may be that you do 12 rounds of kumite for a total of, say, 48 or 50. And then that ties in with the 7 stages of kumite mastery. So you keep these records, type of training, and then you keep notes, you keep observations. I'm just reading it here. See that? You read the top one there. You keep, is that fair? I don't know if you can see it properly. Keep observations, ideas, and notes, new PBs, what was good, what was bad, and what you feel needs more work on, the 3 magic questions that Patty mentioned before. For example, class training, triangle prevention and escapes when caught tight. Okay, that's just one single defense against one single technique. You can be as detailed as you want. And like I said, I used to I had fairly big size sticky notes, post-it notes. And if I needed an overflow, I just stick it in there. Okay, and then it just goes on. And then you have the logbook pages. I like to use, I should have grabbed some. I forgot. Actually, I was going to. Little, you know, the little post-it notes where you just have one little a coloured marker where you can use 4 or 5 of those. If I wanted to really go all out with this and create a much more expensive logbook, I would have had those sections in pre-cut tabs, but to do that increases the cost of the manual by 5-fold. Okay, so you just use those, you buy those little stick-it notes that you can get in places like Officeworks, and you put wherever you are, you know, whether you've gone through 30 pages or not. Okay, and that goes on. You've got pages there for that log. And then the next section, of course, is the group training session. There, that's the next section, group training session. So there's another place for a tab. And then what I've done is given samples once again. So right here, the sample that I mentioned about how to do the skill drilling log. Okay, and then following that, you have the pages for the skill drilling log. Now, I've done 1 skill per page because you don't need as many of them. If this book, even if this logbook lasts you 12 months, you're not going to use any more than 40 or so skill. I'd be surprised if you use 20, 25 skill records, because the whole idea is you might end up over time with different instructors and so on, gathering perhaps 8 or 10 different skills you're working on, but you still need to work on those skills so you fill those boxes up. Otherwise, it's just an exercise in futility. What the aim is, you want to keep coming back to those particular individual skills and work those skills until you've done them 1,000 times and you've drilled them and drilled them and drilled them. And that's the whole value of it. Okay. And then at the very end, I've got, I'm just going to open it here so I can read it off this. At the very end, I've got a logbook summary. Okay. So what that logbook summary will allow you to do is keep a track of how you went. Okay. So general observations. Did you do any gradings? Any new drills? any new skills that you particularly improved, any tournaments, any pros, good things that happened, or cons and things like that. And then from that, you come down here, and that says areas to focus on next training block. Okay, so that'll give you, if you've done well with the logbook, you're able to take some clear notes, and you will have uncovered whole areas of your training that literally need more work. Okay, so that's the beauty of that. And then you continue on once again. Where are we here? So the next section there, you see that is events, tournaments, seminars coming up to prepare for. So I mean, if you're a tournament fighter, 3-6 months down the track, 12 months, 2 years for a world tournament, 3 years for a world tournament, or you can be like Yusuke Fuji, who was training with me. He created an 8-year plan, and he broke down the 8-year into 8 12-month lots, and then each one had quarter lots. Then each quarter lot had weekly lots, and each weekly he broke down to every day. So he knew what he would be doing tomorrow morning for training so that he could achieve his success in 8 years' time. Ended up taking him 6, not 8, to win the All Japan Championships. But so this is what you do here. You see you've got any events and so on coming up. And underneath there, you can write a section on injuries or challenges or things that may have happened in your life that you need to take a record of. Okay, so that's the logbook. And here's the thing, and I've got 3 people from 3 different dojos have already expressed, it would be, Kyle, you're the man. You read my mind. I've got to talk to you. Would be great in a digital form, so it's an app on a mobile phone. That's the next step, and you can see Kyle Buttress there. He's everyone's go-to guy if you want to design apps or websites or things like that. Speak to Kyle. Leave a message for Kyle right there. But anyway, on the inside cover, you see that I've just did a nice little horse design. But what I'm going to do, let me first of all show you the inside front cover. So the inside front cover is that. It's nothing more than that. All right, now keep that in mind when I explain the inside back cover. The inside back cover explains something really, really important. And like I said, I've already got 3 groups that are keen. So first of all, if you're an instructor, they're $24 Australian individually, but if you buy in bulk, of course, you get a discount. But here's the thing. It's a joint print offer. Okay, so what we can do is redesign the cover so that you have your own dojo's logo, your own school's logo. The cover color, it can be your own dojo's color. And you get to write a forward to it. You write a forward which will go on the inside cover of the logbook. So that's why I mentioned that. So your forward will go on the inside. You can add a photo of yourself or your dojo logo. It's up to you completely. And then with that, you can then make them available to your own students, labeled as your own dojo's logbooks. And if you're interested in that, get in touch. And I charge, make a few dollars from it because it's my copyrighted material. But that's not the main goal for me. The main goal is to help people with dojos to get out there and make the importance and value of a logbook available to their students. Okay, so on the inside cover, and even on the front cover, you see I've got that beautiful illustration there. Let me move this off. In relation to that quote by Rumi, one of the wonders of the world. I'm reading it backwards. The sight of a soul sitting in prison with the key in his hand. So that's the soul in prison with the key. But you can 100% replace that with your dojo logo. And on the inside front cover now, you then put a forward. I'll help you with that so you know how many words to write. You then create a forward. I'm going to have a cuppa while it says it's unstable. Yeah, good on you, Jace. Look, I've got, like I said, I've got 3 groups. The minimum order at one time because of the print is 100 copies, but that's nothing. Trust me, even if you've only got 25 students, they will use them. If they use them properly, clearly students are going to renew them. And what the whole idea is, you include it as part of their membership package. So when they join, they get their GI and they get their logbook, and the whole thing is self-explanatory, and you can sit down with them if you like. You can even do it because in the Budo blueprint, the actual training manual, that goes with this. You see, I've called it the Budo blueprint training logbook. Okay, so it's part of the Budo blueprint is the logbook, and what you can do is encourage students to keep a record so that they know over time, from the very first day they start training, how they can use logbooks and so on. It's just, I think, one of those things like using video to train students. It's a fantastic thing. So let me know what you think, and let's hear your comments. If you use logbooks, great. If you don't, why? And if you do use them, what benefits have you got from them? I know, like I said, the ones that I've used over time, I've been able to go back and refer to not just techniques, because I have my logbooks. I've always kept logbooks. In fact, I could show you logbooks. It's a habit I got from Shihan Billy Polly. Well, the way I use them now is something that he showed me, because in his work, he required to keep a record of events on numbered pages, so that they were legally acceptable in court. If you keep the record of an event within 24 hours of the event happening, that becomes a legally acceptable document. So, and in his work, he requires that quite often. So I just used to use a notepad, and I have notepads going back to, early 80s, right back to actually 1979, my first logbooks. But one of the things that I've done that Billy Polly taught me was to use numbered pages, so that way there's no cheating. You can't tear a page out, or you can't add a page later. They're numbered. And I've got a record of pretty well every interview that I ever translated for Solsci, because sometimes the content of the interview and the content of the person he's talking to seems to vary. They say one thing, and then later on they said something else. Well, I have a written record of it, and it's a legally verifiable document because they're dated and numbered. Anyway, that's a minor detail. What the important thing is, I have these logbooks and I still keep them. And so with these beautiful books, I'm really wrapped, and my buddy Willie Schultz did a fantastic job. And that's my quintessential logo, Seeking Your Potential. That's my company, my quintessential company, with a poetic license of bad spelling. But anyway, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you can see the value of the logbook, and I'd love to discuss more with people their thoughts on this. I'm really, really excited about it, and we just picked them up literally. We weren't meant to get them till tomorrow, so I wasn't going to be able to show you till later in the week. But anyway, they're a good size. They're A5 quality, good quality, A5 size, good quality paper. It's still paper, so obviously there's limits to the hardiness of it. It's not like a waterproof plastic pad, but it's definitely good quality paper. And we're pretty excited by it. So let me know. No one's written anything for ages, so I hope everyone's still there. But anyway, look, the other thing too is, now that I'm teaching in the dojo 6 days a week, I'm cutting back on the number of live streams I'm doing from 3 a week to 2 a week. So from This week, actually, I'll be doing Mondays and Fridays from 3 p.m. I'll miss the Wednesdays. And that also gives me a little bit of extra time to focus on getting the Budo Karate Masayama book finalized. It's going gangbusters. It's had 2 proofreads, one by my wife, whose English is better than mine. So she's been going through it like a fine-tooth comb and really, really helping me find, pinpoint all the little errors. Of course, nothing's 100% perfect. And then the other read was a good friend of mine who's also, he knows the industry, he knows martial arts. He's one of our good black belts. He was my uchi deshi maybe 25, 30 years ago. That's really exciting because the proofread's nearly done. The only thing holding me back is that I keep making adjustments and adding more material. And I was a little concerned about that at first, but then I asked my buddy that is proofreading it, and he's just shaking his head, yeah, this is so good. And he has an original copy. So what he was doing was he was reading the proof that I gave him next to the new one, next to the old one, and he's just loving the new content. So that was very reassuring to me because I trusted him that he would tell me if it didn't flow. He would tell me if the content was too verbose or anything like that. And he said he just can't put it down. So that's exciting news. I'm really happy about that. Yes, Rumi's unbelievable, Rudd. Yeah, it's a great quote. It's one of my favourite quotes, wherever. And it's so profound. It's a little bit that, and my other favourite quote, which isn't a Rumi quote, is row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That little ditty is the most profound teaching that you could ever find anywhere. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Pretty happy about it. Yep, I'll make sure I send a few out. My Patreon family, of course, you get a monstrous discount on them. You get them basically at cost price plus postage. That's exciting. Jace Crimmin, look, just PM me at Facebook is probably the best thing. And we can talk about it. I'll let you know what I need from you to create the correct artwork. You use an app, yep, it's Strava, it's GP app. I use apps for my bicycle training and so on. But I love the manual entries because I just find that sometimes the app can, especially if you're riding a lot, the app's great to enter a number of reps, number of the amount of weight, the number of reps, the number of sets, all that sort of thing. But in terms of detail, nothing beats a pen. And I love riding. I've been a big avid fan of fountain pens and so on forever. So I like the feeling of writing. Yeah, good app. Yeah, Rach, I'll speak to you about it too. It's pretty exciting. The format of the logbook is amazing. Yeah, indeed. And this is probably, Rudd, this is probably version 6 or 7 in terms of failed sizes, formats, content, and everything like this. And who knows, maybe it'll change again, but I'm really excited about this because it really zeroes in on the key points. It's a real 80-20 thing going on here. Paul Knibb, I do the same with Strava. Yes, good. And also take time to write it down in a different format on paper. Well, there you go. Yeah, nothing beats paper. There's nothing worse than keeping all those records and then somewhere down the track. What I did was I was using a logbook on my old iPad, and then when Apple updated the iOS, that particular app manufacturer didn't update, so I could no longer use that app. So I lost all my information and data. Yes, you can. By all means, Marco, you can purchase them singly. They're $24, and that's probably what most of them will go, because I've ordered a big lot of them for my own students and for people. So obviously individual orders, 100% fine. Instructors, if you just want it as it is, you can do that too. And for instructors who can see the value of turning it into their own dojo's logbook and make it part of their dojo marketing system. Well, then there's that as well. Pretty exciting. Thanks everyone for your nice comments. I don't know if like Kyle Buttress, we'll talk to Kyle about making an app. I think there are plenty of apps out there already, though. I spoke to Kyle about a different idea that I had for an app, and turns out that this original idea that I had is already flooded in the market with all kinds of similar things. Marco, to get them individually, just send me a PM. I'll send you details. My daughter's putting together the order page on the website even as we talk, so the order page will be up in the next few days. If not, I'll be able to send you a link, and I'll get your email address, and then we'll work it out that way, Marco. But like I said, Patreon family, you get a nice fat discount because I really appreciate how you're helping me, and this is just the simplest way that I can say thank you back to you as well. Yeah, nothing beats paper. It's so true. Frederick. I love them, and I love to write. And I was talking to my wife just the other day. We were walking through the mall, and I went into a pen shop, selling beautiful Monte Grappa and Waterman and so on, beautiful pens worth, anywhere from $100 up to $12,000. I think one of them was. It was had a gold section and a pure silver section. So, but anyway, pens are just like watches. Some people have a dozen. I would never admit to that, even if it's true. But I love pens. I love writing with pens and brushes, and it's an expression of creativity. So when I write in these logbooks, it's exactly that. It's a fantastic way to keep a record on paper. So today's kind of a little shorter than normal, but I'm really excited. I just wanted to show you the logbook. We literally went down and got them off the printer, hot off the press. I joined up to Patreon on the weekend. It is under. Okay, good on you. Thanks, Mark. Fantastic. But here you go. Look, I just love the logbook. I'm really excited, and I'm really confident that they will do a great job, and most importantly, help you to work the gap between where you are now, where you want to be, and see clearly measurable differences. That's what it's all about. Thanks, everyone. It's a little shorter than normal, so you can get out of here a little earlier. It's a bit cold up here too. It was 2 degrees last night. It felt like 1. I reckon it felt like 5, -5. Good on you, Jace. Thanks, everyone, for coming along. Good to see you, Jace. Don't see you here often. Rob from Tassie. Jace is from Cairns, I think, and Rob's from Tassie. So there you go, from north to south all the way. Thanks, Rob, for coming along. Thanks, everyone. Harry, Us, I'll speak to you soon. You got that link right, Harry? Again, thanks. I'm pretty excited. Us, Al, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Oh, as always, Us. All right, Rachel, yeah, thanks. I'll hear from you soon. And Daniel Langworthy, thanks for coming along. Thanks, everyone. Mike, Us, thank you. It's always great to have Mike Clark. It's an honor to have Mike along. For those who aren't familiar with Mike's books, let me see if I can quickly find a... Whoops, it disappeared on me. I'll find the link to Mike Clark's book, particularly this one is the Shingi Tai, which I've quoted in my own Budo blueprint. Here we go. Let's see if this works. There's a link to Mike Clark's book. Yep. Jason's all the way up in Cairns. Good on you. Paul Knip aus Deutschland. Good. Yeah, really excited. I'm excited too. Thank you. Good. And Rudd, stay safe, Rudd. I'm really, the first thing I saw, I know you're in Hiroshima, not in Kyushu, but nevertheless, man, you be careful because it's a small country there. So if something's happening in Kyushu, you definitely feel it in Hiroshima. It's not like here in Australia. Torbjörn, Thank you. It's always my honor to have you, Torbjörn, come along. Yes, Leo, looking forward to working with you. It's pretty exciting. We've got some great things ahead. I've already got it. I've already got the instructor's manual, the instructor's course, and the. But yes, that's a great idea. I need to. This is the student's manual. You're 100% right, Torbjörn. I've got the instructor's course, which I'm working on after the logbook, the Budo blueprint, and I think it's very worthwhile adding an instructor's logbook as well. It fits in so well. Awesome, Marco. Thanks, man. Thanks again. Arigato gozaimashita. Thank you, Leo. Yes, everyone be well, stay safe, and everything like that. Exciting time. Of course. Thank you.